Leo, let me be straight with you tomorrow, September 17th, your story takes a turn. One woman. One moment. Everything shifts. No fluff. No sugarcoating. Just a raw cosmic truth. You're not here by accident. You didn't click on this video because you were bored. You were led here because something is aligning, and deep down, I think you feel it. Something in your life is building up. You've been sensing it, maybe even resisting it. But here it is. A change is coming and it doesn't come quietly. Now, this isn't just about a woman showing up out of nowhere. This is about a divine appointment, Leo. Someone, maybe someone you've known before, maybe a complete stranger is about to walk into your life and trigger something so deep, so personal, that you won't be able to pretend things are the same afterward. Not emotionally. Not spiritually. Not even financially. Astrologically speaking, tomorrow is no ordinary day. With the moon in Scorpio forming a rare trine with Saturn, emotional truths rise to the surface. Walls fall. Secrets speak. Add to that the recent shift of Venus back into direct motion, and you've got a cocktail of heart, power, and cosmic timing. This is when hidden doors open, and Leo, one of those doors has your name written on it. I want you to sit with this for a moment. Has there ever been someone who came into your life and turned it upside down in the best possible way? Someone whose presence was the catalyst for you to change jobs, end a relationship, move cities, start something you never thought you had the courage to begin? That's the kind of energy we're talking about. And no, you don't have to believe everything I say. You just have to notice what's already happening inside you right now as you listen. That tingling in your chest? That isn't nerves. That's intuition. Because Leo, I'll say it again, this isn't a coincidence. This is alignment. If you've been feeling lost, stuck, or even just numb lately, let me reassure you, those feelings are often the final pause before the breakthrough. Before a shift so profound it echoes through your finances, your relationships, your sense of purpose. That's what September 17th holds for you. Not just change. Transformation. Now, if this message is already hitting somewhere in your gut, I want to ask you to do something simple but important. Leave a comment right now that says, I am ready to receive what tomorrow brings. Let that be your affirmation. Not for me, but for you. For your future self to look back and remember this moment. Because there's something powerful about putting intention into words. And let me just say this, with all the sincerity I've got, thank you. For being here. For choosing to listen. For engaging with this space. Every like, every share, every comment you leave, every time you hit subscribe, it's not just support. It's a ripple. You help me carry these messages to more people who need them, and that means more than I can put into words. So take a breath, Leo. Let yourself be open. You're here, and that already means something is working in your favor. Trust that. And whatever pulled you to this video today, hold on to it. Don't dismiss it. Because what the universe is about to reveal, it's breathtaking. Let's go deeper. I'm just getting started, and you're going to want to hear every word of what comes next. Leo, you might already feel a quiet stirring, like the moment right before the wind shifts. It's not loud, not dramatic, but something in the energy of the now feels different. That's because it is. Tomorrow, September 17th, isn't just another date on the calendar. It's a spiritual pivot, a pressure point in time where what's hidden begins to surface, and what's meant for you finally dares to approach. Astrologically, this moment has been a long time coming. With the moon swimming deep in Scorpio and forming a powerful trine with Saturn, the energies are aligning to help you see something you've been avoiding or perhaps something you've simply forgotten. Scorpio doesn't do surface level. It pulls truths from the depths. And Saturn, the teacher, makes sure those truths come with lasting lessons. This is when quiet realizations turn into major shifts. And this time, it's not just about awareness, it's about someone stepping into the frame. There are moments in life when a person enters not just to accompany you, but to awaken you. It's not always romantic. Sometimes it's a conversation with a mentor that reawakens a dream. Other times, it's a figure from your past who shows up with a message you're finally ready to hear. And yes, sometimes, it's a total stranger whose timing and energy feel almost divinely orchestrated. Tomorrow carries that kind of possibility for you. Venus has recently gone direct, ending weeks of emotional reevaluation and financial delays. With her energy now flowing freely, so are the things we desire most: love, clarity, beauty, abundance. If you've been feeling like nothing has been moving or that everything's been a little off, you're not wrong. But that phase is ending. And in the opening that follows, something or rather someone can finally reach you. This woman, whoever she is, doesn't come to save you. She comes to reflect you. She might be a mirror for your strength, your creativity, your pain, or your unspoken longings. In tarot, we call her the impressive figure of nurturing, wisdom, and divine creation. When she appears, it's a sign that it's time to give birth to something new, not just outside of you, but within. And sometimes, as the Death card reminds us, birth only happens after we're willing to let something else die. It could be an old belief, a role you've outgrown, or a relationship that's already ended in spirit but not in form. That's the real message of tomorrow: transformation through encounter. The universe may use this woman's presence to close a chapter you've clung to out of comfort, habit, or fear. And when it does, you'll have to ask yourself a difficult question: am I willing to release who I was, to step fully into who I'm becoming? The deeper purpose of this phase isn't just change its alignment. The woman who arrives may not stay forever, but her impact will. She's not the main character in your story, Leo, you are. But she is the page turner. The catalyst. And sometimes, that's more sacred than anything else. This energy also echoes something I've seen in real life again and again. Sometimes, right before the big breakthrough, life sends a gentle nudge that says, "It's time now." Whether it's a kind stranger who offers wisdom at just the right moment, or a loved one who speaks truth you weren't ready to hear before, their arrival isn't random. It's appointed. It's precise. It's sacred timing. And while this isn't about religion, it is about trust. About believing there is a deeper intelligence, a larger rhythm moving through our days. One that brings people into our lives not just for comfort, but for evolution. When you see it that way, even the painful goodbyes and sudden hellos begin to make sense. They stop being interruptions, and start becoming invitations. So tomorrow, keep your heart open. Don't look for the dramatic, look for the meaningful. A text. A call. A coincidence. A memory stirred by a face. That's where the shift begins. That's where your story changes. And now I invite you to pause and reflect. Are you ready to let her in, not to take over your story, but to help you remember how to write the next chapter yourself? If you feel the pull of this message, take a moment to confirm it in the comments. Say, I'm open to who is meant to find me. Speak it like a prayer, not to the sky, but to your own becoming. This is your moment, Leo. And you don't have to walk into it alone. Leo, if there's one thing I've learned through years of watching how the stars shape real lives, it's this. When the energy of Venus starts flowing again, something deep inside us unclenches. For you, this shift isn't abstract, it's personal. You've been through a season of delays, confusion, maybe even scarcity. And now, that tide is turning. Slowly, steadily, the energy of money, value, and even your own self-worth is starting to rise again. But it's not coming all at once like a lightning strike. It's unfolding like the first rays of light after a long night. You don't even realize you've been holding your breath until you finally exhale. Venus has just gone direct after a long 40-day retrograde, and that alone is powerful. But for Leo, it hits different. Venus rules how we relate to pleasure, comfort, and especially how we receive. During her retrograde, many of us, especially those ruled by the sun like you, may have felt like we were constantly giving, but not getting much in return. Whether it was emotional energy, time, effort, or even finances, it was a period where the cosmic faucet felt stuck. Now that it's flowing again, you'll begin to see where things start to click: unexpected checks in the mail, overdue payments arriving, a random job opportunity, or even a well-timed offer from someone who's finally recognizing your worth. And this isn't random. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, is currently moving through Taurus, which governs everything solid: money, security, food, shelter. It's as if the universe is saying, all right, Leo, you've done the inner work. Now let's fortify the foundation. That's where the tarot comes in. The Ace of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles are showing up not just as symbols of wealth but as invitations. The Ace brings you a new financial beginning, something grounded, fresh, full of potential. A seed. But the King? He's the one who shows you how to protect that seed, how to grow it without letting it slip through your fingers. Now here's where it gets real. Many people think abundance is all about manifestation, but manifestation without structure is chaos. Yes, speak your desires. Yes, believe that you're worthy of more. But also, make a plan. Write it down. Know your numbers. Decide now what you'll do when the opportunity lands, because it's coming. Whether it's a business proposal, a freelance project, or a collaboration with a woman in power who sees your fire and wants to amplify it, this is not the moment to second-guess yourself. This is when you take your self-worth seriously. Still, this isn't just about cash. It's about the relationship you have with value and with yourself. Are you charging what you're worth? Are you spending out of impulse or intention? Do you know where your money leaks? These questions matter. Not because money defines your value, but because your relationship with money often mirrors your relationship with deserving. And Leo, you deserve stability. You deserve overflow. You deserve to stop surviving and start building. Now, the energy of this phase is not flashy, it's consistent. Think less lottery, more long-term wealth. Think slow burn, not sudden fireworks. This is about making choices today that still bless you a year from now. Think investments, time, skills, energy into things that create real results. And when in doubt, lean into your lucky frequency, gold. The color of kings, of harvest, of sustained power. Wearing it, surrounding yourself with it, even visualizing it, helps align your field to the vibration of receiving. And here's a final nudge from numerology. The number 8 is in play this season, and that's no small thing. In its upright form, it's the infinity loop, energy in, energy out. It's about empowered exchange. You give, you receive. You invest, you grow. There is no lack when you're in alignment with the 8 frequency, only the reminder that wealth is a cycle, not a destination. So Leo, if your heart feels like it's ready, truly readito, stop chasing and start claiming. Speak it now. Don't just think it. Declare it. Write it in the comments. Say, I am ready to receive abundance. Let that be your message to the universe, that you're not just open to more, you're prepared for it. Because when you're willing to stand fully in the value of who you are, life will always meet you halfway. There comes a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes roaring, when the fire inside you flickers back to life. Not because the world outside has changed, but because something inside of you simply refuses to stay silent any longer. Leo, if you've been feeling like your light has dimmed, like your passion has been sitting on a dusty shelf, then what's coming next is not a coincidence. It's a reignition. And it's not subtle. The Ace of Wands has stepped into your field, and this card doesn't whisper, it sparks. It doesn't ask for permission. It simply hands you the match. This is the energy of beginnings that are fueled by purpose, not pressure. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about feeling that first pull again. That thump in your chest when you think about the idea you've kept hidden for far too long. You know, the one. The dream that never really left, even when life got messy. The vision that visited you in quiet moments and loud doubts. It's still there, and now, it's time to light it up. In astrology, the sun is currently in Virgo, a sign known for practicality, clarity, and realignment. This season isn't about chaos or grand gestures. It's about structure. Editing. Choosing what truly matters and letting the rest fall away. For a fire sign like you, this can feel frustrating at first. You're used to moving big, living loud. But right now, the universe is asking you to start small with intention. Not because your dream isn't worth shouting, but because it's worth building right. And sometimes, Leo, all it takes is one person to remind you of that fire. A woman may appear soon, and no, not necessarily in a romantic way. She could be a collaborator, a teacher, even a passing soul who sees something in you that you forgot was there. Her role? To reflect back your potential in a way that shakes you awake. She won't build the fire for you, but she may be the one who points to the flint sitting quietly in your hand. Let's talk real life now. When was the last time you said yes to your own idea? Not the ones you do for money. Not the ones you do for someone else's approval. I'm talking about that raw, vulnerable, U-shaped dream. The one that scares you just enough to be exciting. Because this is the window. This is the moment when saying yes, when replying to that email, sketching out the outline, applying for that thing won't just feel good. It'll feel like you're finally breathing again. Numerology tells us that the number 1 symbolizes new beginnings. It's clean, pure, uncomplicated by what has or hasn't worked before. The moment you say yes to something real, you step into that 1 energy. A frequency that opens doors, shifts timelines, and draws in the right people at the right time. But you have to say yes. You have to act. Even if it's 1 sentence, 1 decision, 1 call. This is not about proving anything to anyone. It's about returning to yourself. Action, when taken from alignment, doesn't exhaust you, it restores you. Like stretching muscles you forgot you had, or speaking your truth after years of silence. And if you're looking for a color to anchor this chapter, look no further than fire orange. That bold, creative blaze. Wear it. Visualize it. Surround yourself with it. It doesn't just represent movement, it demands it. So I want to ask you something. Not as a guide, but as someone who's been where you are. Are you done waiting? Are you ready to stop shelving your own brilliance? Then do something anything that says, I remember who I am. Write down 1 next step. Make 1 decision. Reignite your fire. And if this message speaks to your soul, I want you to do something bold and simple. Comment below, yes. I'm ready. Say it not to me, but to yourself. Because this next chapter isn't about starting over, it's about starting true. Sometimes, healing doesn't arrive with fireworks. It whispers. It comes quietly, like an old friend showing up on your doorstep, not to stir up the past, but to remind you of who you were before the pain. Leo, if the last few months or years have felt like an emotional maze, like you've been bumping into the same patterns in love and connection, this is the moment where something deep begins to shift. Not necessarily because someone new enters, but because something old returns. Not to haunt, but to heal. This phase in your chart is all about soulful connections. And the cards echo it too. The Queen and King of Wands have appeared together, a divine mirror. These aren't just romantic figures, they represent the sacred balance between action and intuition, desire and intention. When they come up side by side, it's a clear sign that someone in your orbit is either reflecting your growth or testing it. And then, there's the 2 of Cups, the card of heartfelt connection, of mutual respect, and deep, soulful conversation. This isn't small talk. This is eye contact that speaks. This is silence that heals. This is the kind of connection that doesn't need a label because it was never about the label to begin with. But perhaps most revealing of all is the 6 of Cups, the energy of nostalgia, memory, and emotional return. Someone from your past may reach out. It might be a literal reconnection, a message, a face you haven't seen in years. Or maybe it's just a memory so vivid, it feels like they're standing right in front of you. This isn't about getting stuck in what weighs, it's about being shown what still needs release. What still needs forgiveness. What still deserves closure, or maybe a new beginning. And I want to be clear, this is not an invitation to regress. It's a chance to revisit, but from a stronger place. A more honest place. The version of you now, the one who has weathered storms, rebuilt, and learned how to hold boundaries, not the same person who loved before. Which means the dynamic could feel different, even if the person is the same. But you get to choose. You always do. This is the heart of emotional self-healing. You don't need to wait for someone else to apologize before you find your peace. Sometimes, writing the letter you never send, pouring it out without expectation of response, is enough to release what's been stuck inside. And sometimes, healing means admitting what you actually want in a connection, not what you settled for, not what looked good on paper, but what your soul craves. Loyalty, depth, laughter, softness, presence, being truly seen. Numerology aligns beautifully here with the number 6, the vibration of harmony, love, and emotional completion. 6 doesn't push or pull, it embraces. It asks us to soften into honesty, to be real about what hurt, and to be even more real about what we desire now. Not from fantasy, from clarity. If you're feeling raw as you listen to this, that's okay. This is tender work. But it's also holy work. Because when you finally name your emotional truth, without apology, without armor, you create space for the kind of relationship that meets you exactly where you are, not where you pretend to be. If this message feels like it touches something in you, don't run from it. Let yourself feel it. Reflect on it. And when you're ready, I invite you to share in the comments, yes, I am still carrying emotional wounds, if that's true for you. Not because it makes you weak. Because it makes you brave enough to name what still hurts. Your healing is not behind you, Leo. It's right here. It starts with you. And love, the kind that doesn't need to be chased, meets you when you're finally standing still enough to receive it. There comes a point in every journey when the road behind you no longer fits the feet you've grown into. Leo, if you've been feeling like certain dreams, people, or places that once felt like home now feel tight, like a coat you've outgrown, that's no accident. What you're experiencing is not loss, it's transformation. A sacred unfolding. And it's time to stop resisting the end of the chapter, because the next one is waiting, golden-spined and wide open. The Death card in tarot is often misunderstood. But it's not about literal endings. It's about shedding. Like a snake releasing its old skin, or a tree letting go of its leaves before winter, it's nature's way of making room for what's next. The version of you that accepted less, tolerated too much, or stayed small so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable, that version is gently being asked to rest. And in its place, your true self is emerging. When the World card follows death, it's a clear cosmic confirmation. You're on the edge of completion. A karmic cycle is closing. This isn't about starting over from scratch. It's about starting again, but this time, as the person you were always meant to be. The world brings expansion, visibility, wholeness. It's like finally seeing the full picture, and realizing all the broken pieces made up the mosaic of your strength. Now, the Hermit joins this story not to isolate you, but to invite you inward. In a culture that rewards hustle and constant movement, solitude can feel strange, even scary. But Mercury in Virgo supports reflection with precision. It offers clarity, not confusion. Take time to look inward, not to dwell, but to refine. Ask yourself, what vision are you holding for your life now? Not 5 years ago. Not what others expect. But now, with the wisdom you've earned. And then, like a soft candle flickering in a dark room, the star appears. After transformation and introspection, healing comes. Hope returns. You start to believe again, not in perfect circumstances, but in your ability to meet whatever comes next with grace and resilience. The star isn't loud. It doesn't demand. It simply glows. And that's what you're being asked to do now: shine quietly but unmistakably from your center. Astrologically, the moon in Scorpio draws your attention inward, to the emotional truths you may have buried. It doesn't shy away from the deep. It asks, what's been running your life behind the scenes? Fear? Shame? Outdated loyalty? Now's the time to feel it, face it, and finally release it. Because truth once acknowledged has a way of setting you free. Numerologically, this moment pulses with the energy of the number 9. It's the number of completion, wisdom, and spiritual integration. It says, you've learned enough. You've healed enough. You're ready. And that doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you don't need to be unfinished anymore to be worthy of stepping forward. If this is resonating with you, if your chest feels a little fuller, your breath a little deeper, that's your inner guidance waking up. You don't have to rush. But you do need to recognize, this is not the time to go backward. This is your invitation to claim your seat, your throne in a life that reflects your truth, your growth, your essence. Imagine removing the armor you once needed for survival. Letting it fall to the floor with gratitude, not regret. Imagine stepping barefoot onto your own inner stage, not to perform, but to be fully seen. This is your moment. Your emergence. And yes, Leo, you were born for this. If you're ready to make space for what truly belongs, I invite you now to name it. Write down 3 things you're willing to release as you step into your next chapter. Speak them out loud. Declare them in the comments if that feels right for you. This is your rite of passage. You're not who you were. And the world, your world, is finally ready for who you are becoming. Leo, after everything we've explored together today, I want you to pause for a moment, just long enough to feel the weight of these words settle into your chest. Not as something heavy, but as something real. Something true. September 17th isn't just another date on the calendar. It's not just a horoscope update or a passing astrological transit. It's a sacred threshold. A moment where the past and the future touch fingertips. And the one holding the pen to write what comes next is you. Yes, a woman may arrive. Maybe physically, maybe as a memory, maybe as a whisper in your intuition. But she's not here to rescue you. She's not here to fix you. She's here to reflect back the part of you that you've hidden too long, the bold part, the visionary part, the version of you that never stopped dreaming even when the world told you to play small. Her presence is not the change. You are the change. She's just the spark. You've walked through fire, Leo. Quietly, courageously. And now, you stand at the edge of a new chapter that only opens when you say yes to yourself. Not when it's convenient. Not when you feel perfectly ready. But now, because your soul is ready even if your mind still doubts. So let me ask you this. What would it look like if you stopped waiting for permission? What would shift in your life if you truly believed that the universe wasn't punishing you or testing you, but preparing you? Preparing you for abundance. For love. For impact. For peace. Can you give yourself that gift? To believe in what's possible, even when it hasn't arrived yet? You don't have to do it all at once. Maybe today, it's just a comment you leave below your declaration that you're ready. Maybe it's this one simple sentence: I release my old self and embrace the transformation of September 17th with an open heart. And maybe, just maybe, that sentence becomes the doorway to a life more aligned, more fulfilling, more you. I want to take a moment to thank you genuinely for being here, for choosing to sit with these words, this energy, this moment. Every like, every share, every kind comment is not just support for this channel, eternal mindfulness, it's a ripple in the collective. A sign that we are awakening together. That you are not alone in your becoming. So, if today stirred something in you, if something in your spirit whispered, "This is for me," don't let it go unanswered. Hit that subscribe button so we can keep walking this path together. Like this video if it moved you. And please drop into the comments and let me know, what are you ready to release? What are you ready to claim? Let's make this space a sanctuary of truth, not just content. Because in the end, Leo, no tarot card, no transit, no guide can make the choice for you. The universe sends signs. But the door is yours to open. And I believe you're ready to walk through it.